My daughter, 27, recently got engaged to her fiance, same age. They've been together since they started college and he's genuinely a great guy and we consider each other friends. The wedding is planned for September and since they want to go low budget, I offered to cover it. I meant for it to be no strings attached as long as they agreed to cover it if it went over budget, $10,000. Now, here's the issue at hand. My daughter and her fiance have a few friends you might call hippie-ish. Some of them are into naturism and they've also started trying it out. A couple they know actually had a no-clothes-allowed wedding and they actually went and enjoyed it, so I'm told. They were talking to me about the planning and said they wanted to be clothing optional. As in, you can wear whatever you want or nothing at all. I guess a few of their friends probably would be choosing the second option. But moreover, they themselves want to be naked for the actual ceremony. Why exactly? I still don't understand. I told them I didn't think that was a good idea and that the whole thing seemed weird. Also, they planned for it to be child-free, so nobody said anything about that, which means some extended family wouldn't be able to know it was an optional clothing wedding. So in the end, I told them if that's what they want, I won't help pay for it. I only said that I probably wouldn't come since, no offense, I don't want to see either of them with no clothing. My daughter said fine, they'd save up and cover it, but I'm not invited whenever they have the money. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter I'm not helping to pay for their wedding? Well, that's why you don't bring kids to a child-free wedding. You are not the idiot. The clothing optional isn't something you can spring on the everyday man, especially for one day. It takes practice, and a wedding with drinks and dancing, presumably, is not a great place to start with newbies. They should do a separate ceremony and invite those who are comfortable with the idea. It's very spiritual and I can totally understand wanting to connect with your spouse on that level, but not in front of my family. If you can't go and enjoy yourself, then I understand not paying. In the same breath, if you'd leave her the money in your will, what's the difference between giving it to her now versus later? These people whining about no strings attached are funny. You mean things like location, food, flowers, and all those fun choices couples get to make. Not the decision to expose themselves in front of their entire family and exclude minor family members without having any conversation with you. You can do whatever you want with your money and gift. You haven't given it yet, so it's yours to do with what you will. I can't help but wonder about all of the claims that no strings means no strings. I think the idea of such a wedding is really sweet and spiritual, but I absolutely would not want to see my family like that and vice versa. Those would be two separate ceremonies at best. Also, it's not like you're pulling funds because they want a different flavoured cake than you want. My mother threatened to do just that and uninviting you because they decided to pay for the wedding themselves, like most people do, was very cold. Honestly, I have no idea what they're thinking. Can you imagine the wedding photos? OP, you might need to notify the family if she hasn't told anybody about the clothing optional thing. LOL, this is so hilarious. I, 26 male, was dating Lisa, 25 female, for around 3 years. I thought we were happy, but it turns out I was happy while she kept secrets. Before me, Lisa was in a relationship with Mary, 41 female, but it ended. I was told that it just didn't work out, so I didn't ask any more questions because, quite frankly, that wasn't my business, and I figured she knew her identity. So let's get into it, I guess. I live in a house a few blocks away from the college where Lisa is receiving her graduate degree. And with the way our relationship was going, I asked her to move in a little over a year ago. Lisa was put on academic probation due to grades, which caught me off guard, to be honest. I asked what was going on and if I could help. That would begin our downward spiral. After a few days, Lisa came to me and told me that she couldn't fight it anymore and she needed to tell me that she was gay and she no longer felt that she had romantic interests in men. I was surprised and, to be open, I was livid. I don't care that someone is gay, but she had no right to steal years of my life from me. Our relationship was a lie and my time was stolen. I felt like I was going crazy. People were calling her brave while at the same time were confused about why it would upset me. Finally, I gave Lisa an eviction notice, legally, and it went from bad to worse. Lisa doesn't drive and doesn't work. She came from New York City, said she had no reason to drive and didn't want the expense. She didn't work because of school and free housing provided through me. She contacted her college's resource centre to figure out housing, but they couldn't help and pointed her towards shelters and a local church. She can move back home, but she would have to drop out till the fall semester, and with her being on probation, that would slow her graduation down by 18 months and add a ton of debt. That's if the classes she needed were even offered when she re-enrolled, making going home a waste of her graduate time. I view this as her problem. I'm still bitter about my time being wasted, but a little more has come out. Lisa and Mary split up due to physical issues, and Lisa will likely move back in with Mary. Lisa called me last week and pleaded to let her stay for 3 months, but I dismissed her. Most of my friends want to stay out of it, but some say I'm doing something wrong. The one friend on my side has asked them why they don't take her in, and they get uneasy and say why it's different. Am I the idiot for evicting Lisa? Not the idiot. At 25, she's enough of an adult to go out, get a job and find a place. It's time to put her big girl pants on and start caring for herself. She likely knew she wasn't into you for a while, but instead of taking action to find a job in her own place, she deferred doing anything of the sort and tried to ride it out on your dime. That's the real issue. Exactly. You've been providing free room and board to someone based on a relationship. She no longer wants that relationship, but is upset that you no longer want to take care of her. Can't see the logic of anyone who feels it's your duty to house and feed her. I can't see how anybody would be on her side. I agree she wasted your time and emotions. Oh, I assure you there are people on her side. She is brave and confused, and the world is expected to bow to that. The OP probably seems a bit heartless because it's being framed as he is forcing her out of school rather than he enabled her to go to school all the prior years. If she was perplexed about her identity, I empathise. But to expect someone you just dumped to take care of you for multiple months is beyond entitled. I have a feeling if she was financially independent, she would have come out sooner. She's not an idiot for being gay, but she is one for expecting you to keep supporting her. She doesn't work and she's barely passing school. You did not cause her problems. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Everyone expecting you to be supportive of her through this wouldn't be singing the same song if she left you for a man. Lucas, 27 male, and I, 27 male, have been best friends since elementary school. It's no joke to say that we're closer than brothers. I know everything about him and the same goes for him. We're part of a friend group that has known each other for years and years. Lucas has a wife, May, 28, who is fine, but she's very serious and can be a bit overbearingly clingy and boring. She doesn't fit in with our friend group. It just devolves into awkward silence and her trying to monopolize Lucas all the time and be prying. Even Lucas gets tired of her. Plus, she texts him literally all the time and he usually has to mute notifications from her. We've been planning a group trip to hit up Southeast Asia for a while now, and we finally got to go. We were worried that May would want to come along, so we clarified that it was just the friend group. We also had a policy where we would try to be as low contact as possible. May agreed not to text or call Lucas at all during our trip, and Lucas and I even switched phones so he wouldn't pick up, which May knew about. The trip was a blast at first, but Lucas started getting weird. He kept asking me if May had contacted him yet, and to my surprise she hadn't at all. He didn't believe me and snatched it from my hand to check. A couple of nights he even rummaged through my backpack to check his phone. I shut it down. He got more cranky every day because he realised that May was capable of not spamming him with messages all the time and just now finally did it. When our trip was over, our flight arrived early, but May picked us up from the airport when she said she would arrive instead of coming earlier. Lucas asked her if she missed him, and May said, "Of course I did." Apparently all she did was read books and lounge around the house. Lucas was understandably annoyed and she realised and asked him what was wrong, so I thought I would say something and make my buddy feel better. I said that Lucas had an awesome time. He was just annoyed to be back home in a boring town. I added that we didn't realise that she could stop herself from texting so much and that we would have gone on the trip sooner if we'd known, which was a joke. May said she was happy Lucas had fun and was sorry for texting so much before. I thought it was over and settled, but Lucas cussed me out later and called me an idiot, but she didn't seem hurt. She even laughed. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot and you've read this all wrong. Lucas was cranky because he liked her texts. He likes the idea of May thinking about him non-stop when they're not together. He likes feeling loved and needed. His first question upon return was to check if she missed him. You're projecting your dislike of May onto Lucas and being rude to both of them. Way too many words to say that OP is in love with his best friend. Pure jealousy. OP, you're clearly very jealous. However, this manipulation backfired for you, didn't it? She didn't ask to go on the trip you were determined to exclude her from. She didn't text, and guess what? He missed her. The joke's on you and you are the joke and the idiot. Time to grow up. Please stop trying to come between your friend and his wife. He will choose her and you'll lose your friend. Yep, you are not as good at reading people as you think you are. It's evident that May isn't as clingy as you think she is, that Lucas likes it when May texts him, it makes him feel missed and he misses her too, and that you're the immature oddball in your friend group. I'm sure right now they're all saying you are the idiot. My young son and I are very close. We're so close that when I asked him where he'd like to go for his upcoming birthday, he said, with you. Jimmy does sleep with me every night too. I have to go on an overnight trip tomorrow and return on Saturday. I'm staying because it won't be safe to drive with the storm that will roll through. I'm just a single dad. Jimmy will be terrified of this storm. I asked my young teen son Jack if he'd sleep in my bed with Jimmy. Jack refused. He wants to sleep in his room by himself. He told me to ask his brother Adam, tween, to sleep with Jimmy, but Adam is a bit of a curmudgeon. I told him that Jimmy is very attached to him and he doesn't realise how lucky he is to have that. Jimmy is all over Jack almost as he is all over me. I won't ask their uncle to co-sleep because that's weird, so I decided to take Jimmy with me. I can pick him up from school early tomorrow and we can take a quick plane trip, play in an office and then crash at a motel. Adam and my Jack are mad that they can't go. I told them that it's way too complicated to take 3 boys on an overnight trip. I'm not taking Jimmy as a reward but to keep things calm. I'm sure that their uncle will do something funnier with them. I think they just want to go on a plane. Also, I am not playing favourites. You are the idiot. When you're at the point of needing to take a kid on a business trip just because there's a thunderstorm coming, he needs to learn to sleep in his own bed. Pass time for it. Playing favourites isn't the only problem here. Yeah, plain and simple, you are absolutely playing favourites and you know it, or you wouldn't have added that at the end. The impact is usually more important than the intent in the parenting gig. You can tell yourself and your kids that you aren't playing favourites, but your actions show. Because at the end of the day, one kid is getting a fun, special, one-on-one trip with dad, and the others get bupkis. That's not okay. Congrats, your kindergartner will grow up and remember how special he was to be taken on a trip with daddy and be catered to, while all the other 2 sons will remember is how their dad had a golden child. Also, Jimmy is young. Do him a favour and work on getting him his own space so he can become his own person instead of an extension of you. My 32 female wife, 28, just moved countries so that we can live together. We discussed it before and agreed that this would be the best solution for us because she has relative flexibility in her job as she's self-employed. We live in my country of origin where I've had a job I've held for a few years. She doesn't speak the language of this country well and is struggling to do basic tasks. Additionally, the paperwork here is a lot more complicated than in her country of origin. For example, she's been struggling with things like opening a bank account, figuring out the paperwork required to register herself in the tax system, etc. Every time she needs my help, she uses her not being fluent as an excuse, which I honestly don't understand. We've been together for 5 years and we've always talked about moving to my home country. While she's taken a few lessons here and there, I don't see a concrete plan for her to learn the language, which doesn't make sense as we want to put down roots here. I've been helping her as much as possible, found her English-speaking legal help, etc. with the starting up of her business, and offered to go set up a bank account with her. But it's getting to the point where she's just depressed about everything, constantly criticising the country. I guess it's much easier where she used to live. It's been a month since she's been here, and she's made no progress on registering her business, and therefore no revenue, as she can't work legally without doing this. Recently, I've been caught up with a lot of legal stuff too, unrelated to the couple, mostly family issues, and I've been feeling drained having to help my parents with things and help my wife. We had a huge argument where she accused me of always being willing to take time to help my parents, but never willing to take time for her. She said that my doing things like getting her a SIM card and going to set up the bank account were not things that she should be forced to be grateful for because I should be helping her out, as it's a system she doesn't understand. I told her she needs to be more independent because we can't just be relying on me in this relationship, and now she's incredibly angry. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. She gave up everything for you. Her life, her home, her family, and her friends. She moved to you to a new and strange country where she knows no one, has nothing but you, and you resent it? Do you even like your wife? She just uprooted her entire life for you, and you complain about helping her with necessary paperwork like banking and taxes. I've got to be honest, if I moved to a country that had an entirely different way of doing things than I was accustomed to for a partner who treated my "how do I survive here" questions like some enormous burden, I'd be moving my happy butt back to where I came from in a hurry. Are you kidding me? My friend, not my husband, came with me everywhere I asked him to when I moved to his country, and I moved to a place where everyone speaks English. You are delusional if you think it's easy to just adapt to an entirely new system. Your poor wife. Do you even care about her well-being? And you are prioritizing your parents over her. Your parents' issues should be secondary to your wife's issues. That is the promise you made when you got married.